running on like, I'm going to be stuck in second gear all day, I think. So, for this
Is that the strong one or the weak one? Or the fast one?
Not that fast. I'm not hungover, but I am sleep deprived. So, but we'll get into that later. Do you want Chris to do the intro?
Sure,
Me?
Chris.
You want to do the intro, Chris?
Returning guests always do the intro.
What?
Yeah, what turned into just a way to bully what's his name way back in the day. It actually ended up becoming a recurring joke.
You really want me to read the intro?
Knows.
Yeah, read the notes. What are you doing?
Okay.
This is our show. Yeah, follow the rules.
Hello, and welcome to Gaming Together, a cooperative podcast. Blah. I'm your host, Philip, and I'm here with my co-op partner, Nave. Each pod, we play through a cooperative experience and relay to you, the listener, if this game is the creme de la creme of co-op or something better off playing solo.
At least you read
Nailed
creme
it.
de la creme right.
Yeah, that's usually the point that gets people.
What was it? No, it wasn't Listoff. It was recent. It was Dylan from Offshore that said cream de la creme, isn't it?
Yeah. And then we laughed at him for that too. Like, what a fool. Oh, but I'm actually Philip, and I'm here with my co-op partner, Nave, and a returning co-op partner, Chris, from 1 Hour, One Decision podcast.
Hi.
Great to have you.
You threw me for a loop right there, but you know what? I try to roll with the punches, so it's fine. Thanks for having me.
It's always like
again,
some
guys.
giant chaos crazy tornado that it confuses everybody whenever we decide to do that.
Okay.
Because after all these episodes, we still don't know how to transition away from the intro.
I usually just announce what we are. We are a gaming podcast. So let's check in with what games we've been playing this week. We'll start with you, Nave. What have you been playing this week?
Been backlog busting some more. It's only been a few days since our last recording. That's what's weird. But I just finished Prey, the outro, the ending of Prey. Very cool, very interesting. Got me thought-provoking, got me wanting to probably play it some more. I was almost going to delete it, and I forgot that I bought Moon Crash, which is like its own little like roguelike DLC kind of thing. And so I'm going to start playing that a little bit.
Supposedly that was where the idea for Deathloop came, was from Moon
Crash?
I can absolutely see it. Like, I've only just played a little bit of it. I've only unlocked 2 characters, but I can absolutely see Deathloop out of this game.
But like,
pretty cool.
I don't know why I love the art style of Arcane, but I can't get into any of their games.
Oh, like, I understand that.
I really wanted to get into this game. I really did. And I just couldn't. Like, I think the fact that they're like, here you go, figure it out, like how to get to the next objective, throws me for a little bit of a loop, because I'm expecting for some reason an on rails experience.
Mm.
If that makes sense.
Oh, you guys recently on your podcast just had an episode on Prey. And that was one of your complaints that you had. And I was thinking, so you were talking about how you had to read all the time in this game. Well, you actually, to the game's credit, with its openness, you don't have to read if you don't want to. You can learn how to hack. You can get strong so that you can move debris out of the way. And there are just so many branching paths going everywhere that it's insane. Like, just right at the end of the game, I was confused in this one of the final areas, and I didn't know where to go. And I was looking up at the roof just sarcastically, because I'm just like, why, God, or something. And I noticed that I see a vent going around, and I see it go down into a room that I can't get into from the outside. I don't have the key card. Don't know where the hell it's at. And I'm like, I wonder. And I Spider-Man'd. There's a gun called the glue gun, which I think you guys ran into.
Yeah, I think I got that one. Yeah.
Shoot the glue gun, and it makes like little
platforms?
Bubbles that you can, little platforms that you can jump on along a wall. So I scaled it's like a 3-story high wall to get to a vent, to walk all the way across to the other side of the room, and then fall down and almost die. But I landed in that room, and I'm like, well, now I don't have to find that stupid key card. I just passed all of that because I randomly looked up, and that's the kind of gameplay that you can expect from this game. Like, if you don't want to hack ever, you will be able to find emails and find basically every single key combination for safes and computers and all that. You'll find all the passwords and everything. Or if you can get strong and you can move debris out of destroyed doors and have access to different pathways in the hub world, I was going to say, but the whole game is like in its own little environment, so it's not really there's no hub worlds. But yeah, game is really fun. It's really thought provoking. It asks questions like what are you, like what is yourself, like who, like are you right now, or are you before and now and in the future, and how do you reconcile those three different people, because everyone's different all the time. I'm different 5 seconds from now, so it's like really interesting thing if you like that kind of stuff in your video games, that Bioshocky feel.
Yeah, definitely. What else you been playing?
I a while back picked up this game called Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth, and I had no idea what this was. It looked like just kind of a Telltale-esque game, which it is now that I've played it. I probably picked this up like 2 years ago, and I picked it up because of the art style. It looked really nice. It kind of reminded me of Banner Saga a little bit, but more like ye old English instead of Vikings, you know? And that's exactly what it is. And while I was sitting around playing this game, Philip messaged me on Discord, and he's like, holy shit, you're Pillars of the Earth? I love that book. And I'm like, that what? He's like, yeah, and it's a TV show on HBO. And I'm like, it is?
Is it?
I don't know.
It's either HBO or Stars. I'm not sure. But yeah, I love the book series. I've read them all the way through like 3 separate times. They're really good. They are, I want to say fantasy, but there's no fantasy elements. It is just historical fiction. There's no magic or anything. Very low power, like peasants living in the dirt, meeting like people in monasteries and stuff. It's good.
Yeah, the animation, or at least the art style, kind of reminds me of like Castlevania a little bit.
If you can see, I don't know if you're looking at the like a trailer or at screenshots, but if you see it in motion, it doesn't move as well as you would expect just looking at screenshots. But the environments and the details on all these different kinds of things, the voice acting as well. There's a lot of effort and love put into this, and so I basically it's separated by 3 books. I don't know if that's like actually how the series is, but I just finished book 1, which I read that every single book is about the same length. So I'm literally about a third of the way through the game. And I'm probably going to finish this in the next few days because it's bite-sized, but it's slow at the same time. So I've gotten to the end of the first book, and I'm kind of like, I want to see how all of these threads kind of tangle up. Everyone just kind of met all at the end of book 1, so I don't want to like spoil stuff. But whenever Philip messaged me, Philip was like, "Are you in a monastery? Or are you rich from wool?" And we are in a monastery, and we just got a bunch of sheep, and they're talking about it, and I'm like, "What does Philip know?" I'm like looking at the sheep.
That's just how it goes.
Philip knows something about these sheep.
But it's not about the sheep. It's about the water rights that go under the King's Bridge right down the river. And whoever has those water rights, you know, it just gets the books are fantastic because it's incredibly low action. Like, I don't know how to like describe it. Like, there is 0 stakes most of the time because it's just like, hey man, the king promised me rights to all the tithings of the bridge that go to this monastery, and he has to go petition the lord of the land to uphold these rights because there's another lord that's pushed. It's all bureaucracy. I would describe it as like, I don't know, like medieval soap opera, but it's really good.
I'm wondering, because what I really want to know is if the game follows like closely along with the books or the TV show or anything like vice versa, because it's like the Walking Dead TV show follows really closely to the animated or to the visual novel, right? But then the video game that Telltale made that blew up had nothing to do with any of that. It was like its own separated story. And so I'm curious as to how that goes. What Philip is going to know right now, because he mentioned, he's like, don't trust the church. And as I'm playing a monk like that is running a monastery named Philip. And so I'm like, is that like in the books?
Whatever. Yeah. Philip is the main character. Well, he's one of the main characters. There's a lot of main characters.
These books, because Philip is
Philip's a jerk in the books. He's not helpful a lot of the time because he's weirdly religious. Yeah.
Oh,
like,
well, this game is like Telltale because you get to choose
you get a choice?
your thing. So I've been making him really good.
Well, he's a really nice guy and helpful, but anytime someone's like, hey, man, I really want to do that, and he's like, that sounds like a sinner's idea, and he'll just like instantly go against it, even though it's now forcing these people to starve to death in the streets.
Sheesh.
Maybe you should play this game because that's interesting. The cool thing is, so when the crew that we ran with me and Philip in high school, it was me, Philip, and our other best friend Steven. And it's like we have Philip the priest, and then we have King Stephen. And I'm like, where's the Austin or where's the Nave? And they're building a castle, so they're constantly being like, okay, so go over there by the Nave and just wait for me. And I'm like, I'm just a fucking piece of a building. That's great. What did I expect? I don't know what I expected. But the game is really interesting if you are into Telltale games.
You play anything else since our last recording?
I played some more Control. Not really anything to write about. It's good. It's very good. And the gunplay I'm starting to appreciate more and more. And the telekinesis in this game, probably the best telekinesis I've ever experienced in a game. Like,
it's better than the guns.
So great.
Yeah.
Oh, I keep forgetting you played it.
Too.
Yeah. I finished that one. Checked it off my list. It's really good. Telekinesis is OP. Just put all your points in it.
Yeah.
I'm putting my points into help.
The challenges are really hard too, though.
Those are optional. You can skip them.
Are challenging.
Yeah, the challenges are like, go to this specific place and headshot people with this gun. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm going to do that.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Especially since they infinitely like resupply like challenges, I guess, from like Destiny. And then it looks like you've been playing ESO again. You having a good time?
It is mind-numbingly... it passes the time.
It does.
If I just feel like sitting around. I am running on like an hour and a half of sleep because I stayed up all night watching My Hero Academia. And so then I looked out the window and the sun was up and I was like, shit. We didn't know when we were going to record, so I was like, oh crap. If they record early, I'm going to be dead. I'm going to be dead. That's my fault. So luckily we recorded late, so I got a little bit of sleep in.
Well, I'm glad we're here recording now. Chris, what have you been playing this week?
I fortunately or unfortunately played Diablo Immortal.
Oh, yeah, I've been playing it too. What level are you?
I've been 20 something.
Yeah, no, I think that's where I'm at too.
Take that back. I have two characters. One is level 30. The other's like 26. So my sorceress is level 30. My monk is 26.
Nice. You didn't want to make a witch hunter boy with the dual crossbows?
No, I mean I heard the sorceress is fun to play, and I agree because like the combos that you can do with the character are pretty nice. And I was usually a monk in Diablo 3. I was a monk main, so I was like, yeah, that was fun. But sorceress is pretty good too.
Well, what are you not liking about the game, or what do you got, Nave?
I was going to say, Chris, if you had to guess, what would be me and Philip's mains in Diablo 3? I don't know how familiar you are with them, because I'm not very familiar with them, honestly. Yeah,
let's see, there's a necromancer, there's the witch hunter, there's the sorcerer, there's the monk, there's a barbarian?
Kind of.
Barbarian, yep.
Yeah, I think that's
everyone.
There's
no paladin or anything like that, right?
I don't think so. At least not to my knowledge.
I feel like one of you would be a demon hunter. I don't know which one.
The same as the witch hunter?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. That's what I picked on Immortal. And I was a little bummed out whenever I went to go type in my name. I typed in TUV, and it auto-corrected to Tub, T-U-B. Good. When I hit enter.
Good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so now I'm Tub, the witch hunter.
Nice. That's the way to do it.
I play the Necromancer. I'm very excited for Diablo 4.
Yes.
I want to play that Necromancer. He looked cool. Did we ever get... So who was the person that had that ability that made that blood wave, tidal wave, down the hallway? Do you remember in the
I think that was a Necromancer
trailer? I hope so, because it looked really cool. I don't know who else it would be, but you never know.
I think it was a trailer for him.
Yeah, right.
Well, what are you not liking about Immortal?
I don't think it's just a constant reminder to go into the marketplace or like to buy stuff. I don't like that.
You're not numb to it yet?
Been ignoring. What's that?
you're not numb to it yet. I feel like I deal with a lot of microtransaction games, and I'm pretty desensitized where I don't even see the store anymore. It's like a blur in my eyeballs whenever I like graze over it.
Well, it's more that because there's that little red diamond just like lingering.
Oh,
in
the
UI.
notification thing.
Yeah, and that bothers me so much. And every time I click on it, it just takes me to the shop. I'm like, no, I don't want to play. I don't want to buy anything.
You're gonna fucking hate ESO. That drives me up the fucking wall. The notification shit.
Well, ESO does that as well.
It's not particularly about the store so much, but it's like you collected this thing, like a collectible, and then it goes into a list of like 50 folders that have 25 collectibles that have 50 rows in it, and then you have to, in order to get that gone, you have to click on that, click this, scroll all the way down, click that, scroll down, and it is like the fucking worst. I've just
given up on that.
I let notifications just stay there. I have to.
Yeah,
it's the worst.
Yeah, I mean, other than Diablo, I've just been playing what we're going to be talking about today. TMNT.
Perfect. So this kind of goes straight into my backlog. I finished Vanquish last week or whatever, and I'm like, all right, time to take care of Bayonetta. And I went and tried to launch Bayonetta, and for some reason it kept saying that the disc wasn't in the Xbox. I'm like, the disc is right there. And I could not get it to work. And I went as far to uninstalling Bayonetta and then trying to reinstall it. But of course, it keeps saying the disc isn't in the game. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just do a hard reset on the Xbox. Start doing the hard reset. That fixes it. I'm able to like start it up. Problem is, then Bayonetta had to reinstall. It's like 15 gigs. But it's downloading off the disc, which is for some reason so much slower than just doing the internet download. And so I'm like, all right, this instead of taking 5 minutes to do a 15 gig download, I'm sitting here for like 2 hours. So I started playing Hydro Thunder Hurricane, which, Nave, I see you have played a lot of Hydro Thunder Hurricane. That game is really good.
Okay, so I've been playing ESO with Melissa, but she plays a couple other games, Hydro Thunder being one of them. And so we've just been racing each other. And did you know if you go into the racing mode and you go all the way to the end, past all of the busted, broken ships, there's a rubber ducky ship that you can drive.
No, really?
And it goes squeak every time you hit a wall. It's fucking awesome. I'm like, yeah, rubber ducky. And there are people playing that online. Not a lot, but we had.
The game is good.
I was like, what the hell? Like, people are playing all these 360 games, and everyone says backwards compatibility is worthless.
Not to those 4 people.
Yeah, that was a blast. No pun intended, I guess.
Yeah, I think I got it for Games for Gold, and it's in my backlog now because I got the game for free or whatever. And I'm like, I'll just go and finish all the races. And the game is really good with its difficulty curve because it drops you in with these are the slow, puddly baby boats. And then as you, each time you complete a race, you'll unlock another race, and then you'll unlock a new boat. And the way it works is it has different tiers of boats. And so you'll go from baby tier to mid tier to pro tier. And once you get mid tier, then it's like, hey, you're mid tier. You should go back and re-race the other races, but faster now. And it's actually really good as far as difficulty scaling because I can see myself getting so much better as I watch my scores get better and I see them against Nave scores. And there's one where Nave got you got 4 minutes on one track and I got it by 3 minutes. So suck on those boats, Nave.
Well, I wonder if it counts the multiplayer times too, because there were some of those races where I was like, I'm not going to win because there was a rando with a super fast boat. And I was like, I'm just going to wreck everyone. I'm going full on turning around in the racetrack, going the wrong way.
Well, they make it so easy to hit the other racers too, because what's it? The drag thing, getting their slipstream. It is ridiculous on this. Your dog pushing buttons?
Yeah, my dog started pushing buttons. Dude, she knows, man. I can't leave anything on that ottoman. She's gonna hit that. She'll flip around and she'll put her paw right on that remote and turn the TV off or something. She knows exactly what she's doing.
God. Yeah, but once you get in the slipstream, you just crash into people's butts instantly. It's really strong, overpoweringly strong. It doesn't make sense physically how fast you catch someone in their slipstream. Good game. I recommend it. I hope I finish it.
You know what will forever be in my backlog? I don't know why, but Brutal Legend.
You're never gonna play it?
No, I've always started to play it. I'll start playing it, and then I'll just get stuck in one place. I'm like, I'm good.
Is it when the game starts turning into a real time strategy?
Kind of, yeah. Because I think it was at that one point where I'm trying to get to one area with the headbangers, I'm trying to beat this one part, and like I don't know why I keep missing one thing, and then the whole thing fails. I'm like, oh, forget it. Forget
that
this.
Brutal Legend's a game that starts so high and then just falls off a cliff so fast. It's like so good in the first few hours, and then that's the scary thing about like your show 1 Hour 1 Decision, where like you get this like really good what is it? Polished area of the game right at the beginning, just to have nothing later on. Like it makes me think of No Man's Sky. Like, on Steam you have 2 hours to return a game. Well, in 2 hours you think No Man's Sky back whenever it first came out was probably going to be great, but you never get off the planet in 2 hours usually. Like you're not leaving the planet in the first 2 hours. So that's always what I think about. Like Brutal Legend's a game that stands out to me like that as well, where it's like front loaded, really, really jam-packed.
Yeah. I mean, I love Jack Black, but, I don't think you could keep this game going.
Well, let's see what kept Nave going with. Nave, what did you buy this week?
Risk of Rain 1 was like $2, so I went and bought that. I don't know if it's still on sale. I almost bought it for you too, but then I was like, okay, if we both own this game, then we're going to want to play the first one before the second one, and it's going to turn into a Gears of War situation where we're like, oh crap, we like this game.
I really want to play 5. But I need to play 4 first. Yeah.
And Risk of Rain 1 looks a lot different than Risk of Rain 2. I think Risk of Rain 1 is two-dimensional.
I think I played Risk of Rain 1, and I remember it being 2D, I think. And then I saw Risk of Rain 2, and I'm like, whoa, this is completely different.
Yeah, so I held back my $2. I'll get a Monster Energy drink with that later on. I also got Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered. So just because it's remastered.
You didn't own that already.
Well, it goes on sale for $2 all the time. And it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean? I love Red Faction Guerrilla, but it's like I have all these Saints Row games that I bought, and I'm just like never playing them. Like the only reason I went back to for 4 is because we were gonna play it together for the show, and I'm just like, there's so many of these games that I buy that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play Kingdoms of Amalur again for sure. Yeah, I have 80 hours to fucking put aside for that one also.
Yeah,
that's the problem with backlog busting. Sometimes the games just take too long to play.
Yeah, especially when you go and buy another edition of a fucking game you've already played, like Bayonetta for like Phillip right now. Like I just went through and what is the game? What is it? Dragon's Dogma? Is that the game that's going fucking wild right now on Twitter?
Oh yeah.
I own Dragon's Dogma. I own Kingdoms of Amalur 360, and I bought it for the Xbox One also. And I have Kingdoms of Amalur, the Xbox One version. And I have a physical copy on the 360 somewhere around here. And it's just like, I haven't even played Dragon's Dogma once, like ever. I played it for like 10 minutes, and I was like, I don't have the patience for this right now. And then I never went back. Now. I'm such a fake gamer.
Fake gamer
it's supposed to be good? I don't know.
It's supposed to be tight, apparently.
Everyone loves it, yeah.
I don't know, because Kingdoms of Amalur, it's like Kingdoms of Amalur is like Fable a little bit, and then the Dragon's Dogma is kind of like Dark Souls. I don't want to like, it's not hard or anything. It's just like the way that the game plays. It's a lot like less. It's not ESO. It's not anything like that. It's like a little bit more like Dark Souls as far as the gameplay.
Gotcha.
All right, Nave, what news do we have?
Oh, so I wanted to talk about this last week, but I forgot. But it's better because Chris is here, so he'll get to hear the story. So every day that I'm at my job, as long as it doesn't rain or anything, there is a house on this really long dirt road where there is this dog that chases me like all the way down the street, and then when I turn around and go back up the street, he chases me all the way back up the street. And this dog, it's so happy to see me. It fucking loves this truck because it loves running along. And so it's like, when I drive down the street, it chases me, and I turn around, and he's waiting for me at the corner of his fence. He spins in donuts. I've shown this video to Phillip.
You sent it to me.
I'll put it in the Discord. Eventually, you'll see it. So Chris is probably just going to start laughing at some point randomly. But this dog just sits there and spins in anticipation for me, like a wind-up toy. Like, legitimately, like it's winding up. And then as soon as I get parallel to it, it just takes off with me and just starts running. Well, on Saturday, the last day that I worked, the dog was doing its spinny thing, and then I got next to it, and it ran full speed straight into the fence. Like, it miscalculated so hard. It just accordioned into the fence. But it was a trooper. He got back up, like he fell over and everything. But he got back up and chased me down. Like he caught up with me. And of course I slowed down because I was like, oh God, no, please. But
it's just a scratch. I'm good.
He's good.
The dog did not care, but it was brutal. Like, it was intense.
The dog sounds like a hero.
Dogs are great. Every day it makes me smile. I see that dog. I'm like, this is my favorite. This is one of my favorite parts of the day, is watching this dog spin.
Well, let's bring in some of our other heroes on our Patreon. Thanks, Michael Superbacker and Pinecone. And if you want to donate to the cause, our Patreon's down the notes below. Thanks, boys. Nave, what's our Twitter say?
We got two. Let me make sure I don't got any more, but I think we got two from Alejandro from a Random Gamers Corner, and I'm not on the notes, so that's just from my memory. Who was the other person? Mick Arcade.
Yep.
Mick Arcade and Alejandro coming after the break.
Right. So now we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll hit our game of the week. The music plays.
Oh, there it is.
Look at him spin. He's spinning.
Watch. He spins faster as I'm coming closer.
Very fast.
I love this fucking dog. I love this dog so much.
It's amazing.
And we're back. Our game this week, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Developed by Tribute Game Studios, I guess, or Tribute Studios, who was famous for a bunch of games I've never heard of that I put in the notes if you guys feel like looking at them.
You've never heard of
Friends Till the End? Mercenary Kings? Yeah, Wizorb.
Wizorb, the famous 2011 game on MS-DOS?
Panzer Paladin?
What is Flint? I feel like I've heard of that one.
I don't know. That one sounds familiar. But I might just be thinking of Flintlock, the new game coming out.
Flintlock, the one's coming. Yeah.
God damn it. All these games. What is the pirate-themed RPG called?
Oh, that one. Greedfall? Yeah.
Greedfall? Or is it Risen?
That's another one. Those are two different pirate-themed RPGs.
More than one?
Yeah, Risen's in my backlog. Yeah.
Flint. Oh, no. I'm so lost now. Let's just go on.
All right, published by... I don't know if this is Dotamu or Dot.emu, their publisher. But they publish other great games such as Windjammers and Windjammers 2.
You know, I used to like... I think one time on the show, I think it was the Streets of Rage one, where I was like, it's .emu, duh. Like, everyone knows that. But someone was like, you're wrong. And you were so confident about being wrong. And I was like, I don't know if I believe you. But I'm
Double
just
down.
going to pretend that I never read that.
Yeah, so quick description for old Turtles. With Bebop and Rocksteady assaulting Channel 6 and stealing super gnarly devices to support Krang and Shredder's latest twisted plan, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sees the Turtles battling across a righteous range of timeless locations, from Manhattan to Coney Island to rooftops and dank sewers. Help the fearsome foursome trounce foot soldiers, Triceraton warriors, and rock troops all the way to Dimension X from the Xbox website.
Which is interesting that it says fearsome foursome, because you get to play as 7 different characters.
And 6-player co-op, which is lot of co-op. So,
did you guys ever get to experience 6-player co-op?
Yeah, whenever me and you first played it.
Chris is saying no.
Nope.
It is a lot on the screen. I don't know what is going on most of the time.
It was already a lot when we were playing it.
Whenever you start the game up, you can press Y for party up, and then you can just look for public matches, and it's kind of like old school, like Star Wars Battlefront 2. You just see a bunch of lobbies that you can join in. And usually if there's a lobby with 3 people in it, it's instantly going to fill up. Or that's how it was on like day 2 when I was playing the game a lot.
So before we start hitting the meat points of the game, do you guys have a lot of experience with the Turtles as a franchise or as the Turtles games? We'll start with you, Chris.
Yes. I grew up on the show, the video games, everything, even that impossible one on the Nintendo. But, obviously going to the arcades, Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, all that stuff, like that was my jam. Like it was so good. And it was obviously a lot of quarters were spent on those games and a lot of fun times. That was like when Konami was just like kicking a lot of ass.
Yeah.
With all the arcade games and everything. They were just on, they were on it. But yeah, and like I said on Twitter and before, Raph is my boy. So don't at me.
Raphael's best turtle, according to Chris. It is at TC1H1D. That's where you direct all of that hatred.
What about you, Nave? Do you have history with the Turtles?
I know little to nothing about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, unfortunately. Whenever we first got on 1H1D on their Andromeda episode, I think this came up at some point randomly for no reason, as things tend to do around me. But I'm lumping Phillip in here so that I don't feel left out like an outcast, but I don't really know anything. I know that there's an SNES game because I was in the Cub Scouts for a very small amount of time, and they had an SNES. Like, it was in a church, and at the church they had an SNES on one of those TV wielding cart things. And so while everyone was like being social, with each other because they're all friends, and I was just this random person that joined for 3 weeks, I would just sit there and play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because that's the only game that they had out all the time. So it's like I just connect this franchise with this time of isolation in my life which is so sad. But luckily it's gone. It's no more because now I connect it with this fucking bitchin' game. This game is great.
Well, Nave, not to lump me in with you, but I got a little bit of history with the Turtles. I collected, I was a little kid. My parents would buy me like Power Rangers, Turtles, and Batman action figures, and that's what I had growing up. A solid lineup, if you ask me, because then you can do like little teams where you could have Turtles versus Power Rangers with Batman doing his own thing in the shadows. Pretty good. But I remember my uncle growing up. He's like, he lives halfway across the country, but when we'd go and visit my cousins and stuff, he had a Turtles machine in his garage, like arcade machine.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, they didn't have any other games, but I was like, I've always been a pro diehard gamer. And so he'd be like, hey, Sonny, come check out this here Turtles machine. And I'd be like, this is sick, but it's also really hard he's like, you have like the little thing open so you can get infinite credits because I was dying constantly because I was bad at games. But I remember Turtles game being pretty good. But besides that, I haven't played any of the other games.
Phillip, do you have an opinion on who the best turtle is?
No, actually, I was always, I have real hard problems telling the turtles apart. I know they all have different weapons and blizzes.
Is it only because only 1% of them are a different color?
Which is funny because apparently back in was it like the old comics or whatever, they all had the same color headband, like red or something like that. So it's like, how can you even tell them apart then? This is like a ninja problem where everyone's the same kind of ninja.
Well, they all use different weapons too, though.
Yeah, but it's also weird because they weren't really kid friendly. So they have one that has literal size meant for puncturing holes in people's bodies and never seems to kill anyone with them. It's just okay. Or I think there's one with a sword too. It's it doesn't make sense.
Leonardo has swords. He has katanas. Donatello has the bow staff. Michelangelo had the nunchucks. They all can do damage to someone, absolutely. But
so before playing this game, I definitely felt like was it Donatello with the staff? I thought that was the one that I probably liked the most, but that's strictly because purple is the best color. It's not even close. It's like number 1 purple, number 2, 3, and 4 are empty, and then number 5 is blue. So it's that's what the list looks like. But now that I played this game, and we're getting into this bit, the animation is chef's fucking kiss, delicioso. It's fucking great. And there's one character that stood out to me, which is Michelangelo. Who was I playing?
One with the nunchucks. Yep.
The one with the nunchucks. And he runs like a fucking idiot. And I was like, I love this one. This is my favorite one. He's the so dumb.
One. He's the dopey one. Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to pick him every single time.
Which is weird because you think the nunchucks would be really technical, but he's the derpiest one.
What I think in my head, which might be the rationalization anyways, is that out of all of the weapons, the one that you're going to hurt yourself the most with is the nunchucks. And so I used to play around with little rubber nunchucks, and I would always whack myself right in the face with them on accident. And I'm just like, wow, I'm glad these don't hurt. But I imagine Michelangelo's gone through a couple dozen of those whacks right to the forehead.
He's probably has several concussions from hitting himself in the face. So, and that's why he's who he is. So
that makes a lot of in-lore sense.
What is it, like CTS or something like the football players have for multiple concussions, something like that?
God.
Yeah.
That's very sad. Well, we have a write-in from Alejandro at A Random Gamers Corner, or it's at A Random Gamers Co. But his podcast is A Random Gamers Corner. He says, haven't played it, but plan on doing so. Donnie is the best one to me. Chris, You want to light this man's entire world on fire right now?
Look, I mean, Donatello's a respectful second place. I'll give him that because he is the smartest one. So he's the one that's always building the gadgets and stuff like that.
The nerd?
Yeah, he's the nerd. He's the nerd of the group.
Oh my God.
But that's fine. Like, build your stuff. But, Raphael just all he needs these little poking size to rough some stuff up, Sorry.
Well, we also have Mick Arcade at Mick Arcade. He says, love the original, and this is basically the original with a fresh coat of paint. Playing the original at Chuck E. Cheese was a highlight of my childhood. Donatello is the best turtle, and I have a tattoo of him to back that up. Running theme here.
Everybody likes Donnie.
Everyone loves the nerds now. That's what it is. That's what's going on here. I mean, I like
Donatello before it was cool. All right, I was just like purple. That's my guy.
Well, I remember. Was it in the Angry Nerds video? They highlighted Donatello is the best turtle because he had the longest range in the NES game. Yeah,
I mean he does. I mean, again, I'll give him that. But and as Tom would say, his opinion is the best turtles are the ones that end with their names end with O, and I think that's not true at all. But it's fine.
All right, that leads right into, in this game, it's like Castle Crashers, where each individual character levels up, and so we each kind of like picked a main to stick with and level up. I chose Master Splinter because he's a rat in a bathrobe, and I felt a connection to him whenever I saw him. Not to mention, whenever I jumped in before to like kind of play this game by myself before I joined Nave, I saw that there's a lot on the screen, and being able to identify with a purple bathrobe really helped me keep track of what was going on.
There's one level in particular where, because I was playing Michelangelo, so I was like orange, I guess, and there was a bunch of orange enemies that we were fighting, and it was just like even that 1% of my character model being orange was making it that much harder for me to just find myself in this cacophony, this visual explosion of pixels and animations.
But I mean, I guess the good thing is they give you a button to show where
like
you are.
One of the bumpers screen. Or something.
Yeah.
Or the triggers.
Yeah.
Like it gives you a little like highlight. I almost wish there was more though. Like give me like a little circle around my feet like in the Madden games so I know which one's me.
They also give you a button to Fortnite fucking dance on people. And I'm so
laugh at them. Or laugh at them.
I put this in the notes or whatever. But there's a couple things you can do that's like your special moves, which lets you do like a big jump slam or like an AoE effect. But to charge it up, you can either just like fight normally, or you can do your character's form of generating your special bar, which everyone had their own custom animation for this. Splinter's kind of simple. He just meditates. But then the turtles each had very dignified, each of their own. Like, what do you have, Nave?
My character did a Fortnite dance. It was great.
God. Yeah. And he jokes about what did Raph do?
Raph just laughed at people, so that was the thing. Which I mistakenly did a lot of times when I was trying to do revives instead of trying to help people out. So
he would walk over your dead corpse and just laugh at you twice, and you're just like, "Please help me!"
It's like, "Oh, sorry, I pushed the wrong button."
All the time.
Which is great because I would just fucking start dancing on the fucking body, just fucking get down instead of helping. It's awesome.
Which to revive people when they get they're down with that not out or whatever. You get a 10 count timer. You get a chance to go in there and rub pizza on them or like near their face, like they can smell it to try to like wake them up. But of course, some of the characters like dead animations, it looks like you're literally just rubbing pizza on their butt as they're just like laying on the ground.
It's like the smelling salts, right? That's how
yeah.
It's great because whenever we were playing for about half of the game, we had Eric from Game Positive with us, and that was around the same time that we learned that the revive button doubles as the high five button. So me and Eric just kept high fiving all the time, and I think it forces you to high five if someone runs up to you and fucking puts their hand up. You have to stop what you're doing and high five them back. So we would just start high-fiving in a loop until someone got knocked away by an enemy.
I think the high five button highlights a very important design aspect of this game, is that it is purely designed just for fun. Like, I don't think there's anything crazy, like, innovative in this game, as far as I can tell. But as a gameplay, I was smiling when we were playing it. Like, we were cheering and yelling. Like, my kids were trying to sleep in the other room, and I'm like, it's turtle time!
Yeah, it's. I mean, and they did add a few more things to like the arcade. The arcade was very simple, right? It was just the attack button, jump, and maybe your special, and then the special would take life away from you whenever you used it, because arcades back in the day were just evil.
They wanted you to die. Yeah,
quarter eating machines. So, but the fact that you can do a charge up attack, like you could do like those backflip and then jump attacks like that. There's like the rising attack too. Like all these little things that they add just to kind of keep things fresh was really cool. I appreciated that.
You know what it really reminded me of? Have you guys played? Well, I know Nave has, but Smash TV.
Yes, I mean way back in the way, but
with a lot of bright flashing colors, big pixels, ridiculous things just happening as you win a car. When you
the funny thing, Smash TV is like a super old game. I don't remember how me and Philip played. I think it was just on Xbox Arcade, just got re-released. But whenever Philip went, have you ever played Smash TV? I saw Chris go through a time portal. Like, what? Smash TV is what you just said to me?
Yep. Smash TV would be a great co-op game for the pod. We'll have to do that one. I can't believe we did Bubble Bobble before Smash TV.
You were like, Bubble Bobble, so good. And I'm
I grew up with Bubble Bobble.
7-second delay, the fucking all game. It's like, yeah, this is fun, Philip. Thanks for this.
What's this game? Zero lag, except for lightning taking out our compadres.
Twice!
It was surprisingly. I was very surprised how good the multiplayer was. Like drop in, drop out was great. And like Nave mentioned, Eric joined us like randomly, and it was like, whoa, okay, we got 4 players going now. So that was good.
Yeah,
good time.
It's even better because it's drop in, drop out online and local. So like, when we started the first match, I realized that there was a press start to play thing. And I was like, everyone pause. And I ran over, grabbed a controller. And sure enough, I was able to join with a second controller while we were in the middle of an online public lobby. And that's so sick. It really evokes that feeling of you playing like Gauntlet at the arcade with you and 2 of your friends, but that third place was empty and some just kid runs up, throws some fucking quarters in there and starts playing with you.
Drops in.
And all of a sudden, Warrior needs food badly. I love Gauntlet so much, and I love all of these
Gauntlet's so
games.
Good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Golden Axe. Anyone?
Is super player friendly.
Golden Axe makes me mad.
Yeah, I can't do Golden Axe. As far as beat 'em ups go, it's rough. But I love riding on those Yoshis that stick their tongues out, like hit things. That was like my favorite part as a kid. Let's see, 6-player co-op drop in / drop out is very nice. There's no friendly fire, thank God, because Nave would have beat my ass like in was it Streets of Rage, where half the time we were just fighting each other.
Yes, I would fucking I would see a hole and I would just I would stop what I'm doing and just have a weapon in my hand, just waiting for Philip to walk in front of that hole so I could whack him in the back of the head and knock him into the hole and kill him. Just hear Nave, why? As he's falling into the hole.
God.
But having friendly fire in this game would be insanity with 6-player co-op.
It would be way too hard because the screen's only so big and there's a lot of turtles on there already. If we talk about characters real quick before we get too far from our little intro segment, we of course have the 4 classic turtles. We have Master Splinter, and then we have the humans, which is what was her name? April. April
Casey
and Casey
Jones. Casey Anthony. What the hell? You murdered her children. What is wrong with you?
My fault. I get them mixed up all the time. They're so easy to get mixed up.
God.
As Nave rushes to correct his Wikipedia edits, he's like, hold on a second.
My God. Yes, Casey Jones and April O'Neil with the other 2 characters.
Who would play as a human when you can play as a turtle or a rat,
I know. It's true. They need to separate. But at the same time, to your point, it'd probably be easier to see when you're playing.
Sure they would.
Another thing is that when you're playing multiplayer, for one, you can't have 6 Donatellos, unfortunately. But maybe they'll patch that later on. In this game, every single character has varying stat lines. So, which is interesting. There's 6 characters and there's 6 variations. Everyone's incredibly balanced. Some a little bit more than others. But then the last character, the Casey
Jones.
Casey Jones. Sorry.
Yes.
So everyone has 6 points distributed amongst 3 stats, and I think he has 7 points distributed amongst 3 stats. He's the character that you unlock at the end of the campaign, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Did not know that.
Also, I'm a statistics nerd. I don't know if you noticed that. I went through I wonder how balanced everyone is, and I went through making notes. It's like, the Psy character. Well, no, it's the nunchuck character and the girl both have 1 reach. It's like reach, speed, and damage. That's the 3 stats. You could probably just guess all of them. Honestly, it's pretty intuitive.
It's like, I like how you memorize all the stats, but you still haven't figured out everyone's names.
Yeah. Well, the blue, because
they're all stat blocks to me.
And the one with the sticks. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, the blue one, Napoleon Bonaparte, he has 2 in attack, defense, and range or whatever. And so I was like, why doesn't everyone pick this character? But I think I probably have the most experience online. I mean, that's not saying much, but I played probably about 8 or 9 hours just goofing off in random lobbies. And I started to pick out who kind of the most popular characters were as well. And I would probably say I don't think I went into a single random lobby that didn't have, Donatello, the purple one. I think he was in every single lobby, and he was almost always one of the first 2 players as well. So that was an interesting thing, because I assumed that the blue one would be the more popular one because he had the most baseline stats. He had 2 in everything rather than having a deficit. He was just a jack of all trades. But I was thinking of it like a fucking nerd, and I think a lot of people were just like, the swords, yay! Or you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know what.
Yeah, I mean, I also picked the rat because I think he had the highest base power, if I remember. But he had crap other stats. All right.
He's Master Splinter after all.
Let's see. No friendly fire. Oh, there was a couple, we talked about this game just being fun to play. There were a couple mechanics that kind of popped up that was just kind of ridiculous that were fun at the time, where they went from having actual longbow guys that were fighting with actual bows to plunger crossbows, which Nave, write this down. They have plunger crossbows. And we had multiple in-lore hypotheses for why they were using plunger crossbows against the turtles.
Because before they were using they were using bow and arrows. It was a downgrade. They downgraded going in.
They ran out of stuff.
Yeah, so one of the things was they obviously ran out of money, so then they need some kind of weapon, right? But it's okay, but crossbows are more difficult to make than regular bows, I would assume. And also, whenever you first run into the plunger people, I'm pretty sure it was in the level was a theme park or something.
Yeah, it was a carnival, Coney Island.
And so we were okay, so obviously they got all of these from the machines. They have BB guns and stuff, right? I guess they just have a plunger shooting mini game or something. But no, they show up later in the toxic waste dump where the Joker turned into the Joker, that area. So
yeah, there was just the enemies were all kind of silly too. I remember one point we walked into the zoo and we saw statues of Shredder. And I think Nate was like, it's kind of weird there's statues of Shredder. I'm like, when would they have time to make these? Turns out the statues were just ninjas in disguise as they and I'm like, that's ridiculous. Or when we were in New York and we were walking through the streets and we see human-sized trash bags just sitting on the side, and they move a little bit too. I'm like, why can't we hurt these? And a second later, the ninjas burst out. Oh, the ninjas didn't burst out yet. That's why we can't hurt them, because they got to do their big reveal.
Or the ninjas trying to have ice cream, licking the ice cream with the mask still covering them. I was like, this is ridiculous.
There's so much charm in this game and just little details like that, because the very first level you go into, you see different ninjas working in the office that you're destroying. You see in the
ties on and everything too.
Yeah, they have ties.
They rip their ties off
as you're beating their friends up. They just pick up their monitors and just rip them off and just start throwing them at you. I'm like, this is perfect. There are ones that are working at the sushi store and the pizza store, and I'm like,
the pizza store.
It's almost like the Lego Star Wars thing, where all the stormtroopers have jobs other than just being stormtroopers, but they keep their helmets on, of course.
So good.
Oh, one silly joke that popped up that Nave really had to highlight was there was a parking garage, and it was 12 feet clearance or something on top of the parking garage, and Nave was like, Philip, look, they crossed out feet and wrote foot because they're the Foot Clan.
And it was FT, 12 FT clearance, and then and I'm just like that. But there's foot everywhere, and the running joke of what is this signify?
What's the lore significance? Yeah,
we were constant. I was like, what does this foot mean? What could this mean about society at large?
I didn't realize how little you guys knew about Ninja Turtles. So I was like, wait, you don't know the Foot Clan? Like when you were saying that, I was like, what?
Well, we knew the Foot Clan, We know they're the ninjas.
Speak for yourself. I knew there were ninjas in Mutant Teenage Turtles. Yeah, I knew there were ninjas in there.
Teenage Turtles.
I say. You mean, I love the movie with, what was her face in it? With the Turtles? The Michael Bay one?
I've seen that movie like twice, and
You have?
Yeah,
how is it?
As a kid,
I actually haven't seen it.
You've never seen it? I don't know. I just remember specific things, and almost everything I remember just became a meme somewhere down, like the "Cowabunga it is" like meme. Like
God,
where
it's so good.
Like it's just looking freaky. "Cowabunga it is," and I love that picture.
Yeah, Ninja Turtles, so good. Just talking about weird game mechanics. At one point, we came across there were like traps in the floor, and they would pop out, and they were ice traps in like the chemical factory we were at, where the Joker gets turned into the Joker, and it would spray ice and freeze us. But we didn't realize we could just hit them and break them. So like a solid 30-second period of us doing karate front flips over these traps, just trying to dodge them, getting turned to ice repeatedly. And finally, Nave is just standing at the end. And I think he just like presses, attack once and breaks one of the traps. He's like, oh, we can break these. Like, you just smash
and everyone is dead in the corner. Like, everyone has died. And I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to get to you guys.
God. Just ridiculous. Like, I don't even think that's supposed to be challenging gameplay. I think it's just supposed to be like, hey, here's a little, like, encounter. But we got stomped by the ice traps. Yeah, this game just has so much style, and like every story beat, like the whole beginning is just like you're going to watch the news or something like that from the Turtle Cave, and you see Bebop and Rocksteady have taken over the news station, and they're doing their own news programming and having a broadcast across the city. So the Turtles got to go put a stop to it. Along the way, they end up losing the Turtle Mobile. The
tires got stolen.
Oh, that was just the tires?
They were in the building for like a minute. Yeah,
and the tires are gone. So bad.
And they put it on their own car, which they labeled the Turtle Tenderizer, which they're going to use to kill you. And this is where we started finding the bosses, and we find out that in canon, turtles aren't really killing people. Most of the ninjas that we fight are robots, or they're just robots, Rocepticons, or whatever, the Triceratops, the Dinocons, whatever they are. Anyways, they're all robots.
Sure to remind us.
Yeah, they would explode. And it got to a point where we'd beat like Rocksteady and them, who we know aren't robots, and they would just get stars above their head. But there was one enemy that was a bat, and his name was Wingnut. And I don't know if he was in the show, but I've never seen Wingnut before in my life.
He was in the show.
But Wingnut's the third most popular Ninja Turtle enemy.
Is he?
Yes. Go look at any tier list on the internet, Philip.
It would definitely go like Shredder, Krang, and then Bebop and Rocksteady as a Team Rocket duo, and then everyone else. No one cares about
Baxter Stockman. No, you got to put Baxter Stockman in there too.
What is he, a human?
Bebop was never in the show.
No, he was. What? He had to be in the show.
Don't you dare say that. Get out of here.
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
All right. Anyways, a Wingnut, the famous Ninja Turtles character, we're fighting him in the sky in a blimp or something. I don't even remember what we were fighting him in. A chopper. We shoot him down. He crash lands, and he just is lying in a wreckage. And this is
in the clouds when we shoot him down. He is like he hits terminal velocity when he hits the ground.
But every other boss we've encountered up to this point, except for the robot, which explodes, they get stars above their head as they get knocked out on the ground. Wingnut doesn't have any stars above his head.
No,
so we instantly came to the conclusion that Wingnut died in the crash.
Wingnut is dead.
And the turtles walk past his dead body and just continue on making pizza jokes, pretending like they didn't just murder that bat.
His body was twitching and everything. It was so bad.
His body was twitching on the ground.
I just want to say rest in peace, Wingnut.
Wingnut, we missed you, bro.
He didn't deserve that.
Even the shell head, like the robot turtle.
Yeah, Mega Turtle.
Yeah. He had stars too when we beat him. That's what I'm saying. Wingnut is officially dead. But Shredder didn't have stars either. He was dead too.
He also lost his corporeal form when he became a shadow ninja of the gods at the end. Spoilers. But
he gave himself over to the nether realm. I don't know what the hell just happened to him.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That was actually a really cool fight. You actually get a 2-phase fight at the end. Full spoilers for Turtles that just came out. But we defeat Krang, and Shredder shows up, and he has the mutagen, I assume the mutagen that made the Turtles. And what happens when you give, was it ninja making chemicals that usually turn a rat into turtles into Ninja Turtles? You give it to a human, he turns into a mutant ninja human, which is actually very deadly. And we got knocked down a lot at him. Yeah, Super Shredder. And he was pretty cool to fight. He went like a shadow form, except he went just like the Joker, because we've referenced the Joker 3 times now. So at the end of, was it the Dark Knight Asylum, maybe?
Arkham City, I think. I think it's City
where
City,
he takes the sauce.
Yeah, and he turns into Super Joker, Super Mutant Joker, and then Batman has to fight him there. We had to fight Super Mutant Shredder and take him down before he disintegrated or whatever.
Which is great, but it's a little disappointing because I think the first phase of the fight has this fucking amazing song that's playing in the background. Who is it? Who did you say was...
It was Ghostface Killer. Ghostface Killer was on that.
Ghostface. It was fucking great. The best thing is that the whole time we're playing, we have a smile on our faces, we're goofing, we're laughing, we're joking around. As soon as that song came on, specifically me and Eric, we were like, okay, hold on, I'm muting you guys. We gotta turn this up. This is really fucking fun. It's a really good fight because the music just amps it up to 15. And then you beat him and he goes sicko mode and the music's gone. So it's okay, well, it was fun for a minute.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's on Spotify. Because Streets of Rage's soundtrack is on Spotify. .emu published that as well.
Still good.
And Streets of Rage's soundtrack is unnecessarily good. They did not have to kill us that hard with that soundtrack.
It is on there, and yeah, the song is called "We Ain't Came to Lose," and
nice.
It's Ghostface Killer. Yeah.
The song is called "We Ain't Came to Lose" by Ghostface Killer.
Yeah, so I think we are covering points pretty good. Do you guys have any more meat points? Because I think I'm tapped out.
I mean, it was such a good time and relatively short. We did do it in one sitting, beat the entire campaign.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to go from start to finish. This is pinnacle. I feel like this is what you guys should consider to be the co-op game to beat. Honestly, just because of the fact that you guys can play this game together and do it in such a short amount of time, but still have such the time to fun ratio in this game is just can't be beat. I'm sorry.
I think he's trying to call co-op game of the year for gaming together. Do you think it can be Wolfenstein Youngblood though?
I was you think it can beat the time to fun ratio of ESO? Where you're only having fun for 10 minutes
5%
for every 20 hours you play.
Yeah. Or let's see. I don't know. It's a strong stance to take. This game is definitely a very juicy cheeseburger of fun. I don't know how much it actually costs. We played on Game Pass, or was it Game Pass? Game Pass. And I know, right? And with that barrier of entry being so low, this just magnified the fun for us to be able to just pop in out of nowhere and start playing it. We had other people that were trying to join us, and they were trying to cloud game connect to us or something, right?
No, it's he's talking about the Crowned Heathens. We were trying to meet up. We were trying to get a full-on 6-player match, but getting 6 people all together on the same time just to coordinate, that's really hard.
Especially when we all live different space times. It's really hard.
It is hard, but it's okay. We tried. I mean, we still got Eric to come out and play with us. That was good.
Yeah. It was great because, for a whole level, we didn't know Eric was Eric. He was just a random person in our game. Yeah.
It doesn't put their gamer tag up on the screen. It just says, Donatello.
There's a dedicated "Who is in my game" button, though. It's the Y button. So you just press that and you see everyone over there on the left side.
All right. Nave, do you have any more meat points?
Nope. I guess. We'll figure it out when we go to our, what do we call it at the end of the show? We're going to go to that.
Our final words. Let's take a quick break.
Word.
Dun, 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 dun. Glug, glug, glug. I got tiny waters this time, Nave. Look how tiny they are.
That's so disrespectful to the planet.
I'm just cutting my losses. I think we need to abandon the planet. We either need to abandon meat space and go fully digital, or abandon the planet.
So you heard it here, everyone. Philip is pro AI takeover. He's
Yep,
anti-human.
I'm ready to conform, and we're back.
Don't worry, I am the anti-AI. So that's how you get that balanced discourse from our show.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. I'll go and step in with my final words on this one. This game is, like Chris said before, might be the co-op game of the year. It is super action-packed fun. You can just drop into any level and have a good time. I had my daughter walk over and she's like, "What are you playing?" Like instantly, like all the flashing pixels and everything, the majesty that were the 4 turtles fighting alongside Master Shredder, and she knew she had to figure out what this was. And I said, "Oh, it's Ninja Turtles," and she was like, "Oh, okay," and then she left. But I could tell that for a minute she was interested, and I don't think it would take much for me to get my kids to be like, "We're going to play Ninja Turtles right now," and get them over to play some Ninja Turtles. So I recommend you download this game. It is so easy to get local players in. You don't have to do any of the annoying crap where it's like, you got to log in a guest profile, or you can only play online, or you can only play local. You can mix and match all you want. All you need to do and play this game is incredibly player friendly. Play this game. It's good.
What did Eric say? He said he had a story about his daughter too, right? Do you remember what it was? I told him to write it down and send it to us because I would forget. And you saying that, I thought you were telling Eric's story.
Okay, so I'll pretend to be Eric for a second. He was playing the game with his daughter, I think, and she was playing as April. Is it April May? What's her name?
April O'Neil.
April O'Neil.
May.
That's it.
There it is.
Yeah. So he's playing as April O'Neil, and so she's a human. She's human, canonically. And he was playing as one of the turtles. And they bumped into one of the bosses, and I think it was like Rocksteady or something like that. And he's like, "We're going to make turtle soup out of you." And she starts laughing because that's just him. Because she's human. She's not going to be made into turtle soup, most likely. And on paper, explain the joke might fall a little flat. But when you think about it, it really tickles the tummy, you know?
Children are magical.
All right, who wants to take the next final words?
I can go. Play the game. It's fun. It's like arcade. Arcade's pretty good. That's it. I'm done.
Well said.
Thank you. I just got to echo what you guys said. It was just a good old time. Definitely brought back the memories of this game, of the older Ninja Turtle games, but still giving you some new mechanics and stuff like that. Like the rising attacks was super helpful, especially for those flying enemies, which were super annoying back in the day when you had to deal with flying enemies. So it was so cool. I'm so glad that Tribute Games made this, and hope they continue to make cool stuff like this. I hope maybe one day they'll do more beat 'em ups like Sunset Riders. I hope so. Hopefully, we'll see.
Well, the thing about Tribute Games, I didn't really highlight this, but it was like the main people or designers in there. They were from titles like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and so they have a history in the beat 'em up series. It's not like they are not like a no-name studio. They have actual people that have worked on prior projects.
The one thing I'm most happy about is finally the people that live in New York can see their environment in a video game.
True to form.
I'm so happy for them.
So accurate to how the world really is in New York, or how New York really is portrayed. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the game's good. So Nave, what are we playing next week?
I don't know. Philip's going on vacation, so we got this one for the front log. And when Philip gets back, we're just going to see what he feels like playing. Maybe it's going to be Gears 5. Maybe we'll play Monster High School Dating Simulator again, just for fun.
You know, I've been thinking about that. Like, man, do we need to be doing like revisits like a year later? Like, maybe you guys should do that on a 1 hour, one decision at some point. Being like, man, I really didn't like Haven that much, but maybe we should go back and give it another try.
Do
like,
the second hour of the game.
Yeah, hour 2.
Just reload your cloud
hour
save.
2. That'd be an interesting. But like, I forgot what I was doing at all in Prey, but now I'm gonna try and figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I mean, I feel like I'm going to try Prey again, especially with Nave saying how good it was. But I feel like this is one of those games that like someone needs to kind of shepherd me again into it, because just like Dave from Tales of the Backlog shepherded me into the first few hours of Bloodborne. Like I feel like this is not one of those games where like maybe I'm missing something about how awesome this game is or how awesome Prey is. So
it has this kind of like curve that I find myself defending a lot lately, where you are very bad at the beginning of the game, and then as you get your powers ranked up and stuff, and you get more and more diverse like strategies available to you, you're able to tackle like the game in so many different ways that it becomes a sandbox of just creativity. Yeah. And it's hard to experience that when you have none of that. And so it's an inherent downside to the way that the show is structured. Not that your show is bad, but just because you guys acknowledge that
I
some
saved
games
Nave.
don't
Good
have
job.
good first hours. Like if you guys got this game on your show, which unfortunately I think is disqualified now, right? Since you've played the whole thing. If you guys got this on 1 hour decision, this game fucks in the first hour. Like you are
incredible.
having fun. Yeah. You get Brutal Legend in the first hour. You're like, oh, this is game of the year whenever it came out. But Prey, unfortunately, like a lot of games in this like loose role-playing game structure, suffer in the first hours. Like The Witcher.
It's great at hour 10.
Skyrim, kind of.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought the premise, like the idea, was really cool because it immediately flips the script, and in that sense, I was really like intrigued by that. But it's just like the actual gameplay at the time, at that hour, wasn't appealing to me. So
yeah. They definitely went really hard on the narrative hook really early on, because I assume they knew the weakness of the gameplay structure. Like it was very front loaded, where they needed a hook early so that people would get through that hard part of the game. Like what it reminds me of in Witcher is the Bloody Baron giant line of quests, where it is so narratively captivating that even though the game ain't that great, I'm going to be honest, if you're just playing for funsies, you're not going to have a lot of fun in Witcher 3. But if you're really interested in narrative, that Baron line will get you through that entire like hump. And by the time you're done with the Bloody Baron line, you are basically strong enough to go fuck off into the main story and do nothing else and probably win. But and I love that kind of stuff.
Well, first off, I want to thank Chris for joining us.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. This is fun, as always. Always chatting with you guys has been a blast.
I know you have been a reoccurring guest on the pod many times at this point, and we talk about you guys a lot. But how about you rehash, in case we have a new listener, what your show is like and where they can find you?
Sure. So Tom and I play a random game on Xbox Game Pass for an hour. Now we're doing requests. So if anyone wants to give us a request, and we haven't played the game yet. So it's going to be a game that Tom and I have not played. And we will play that game for an hour and decide if it is worth our time to continue playing that game past that hour. We are almost at 80 episodes. So you can check us out on Twitter at TC1H1D. And our podcast is on most audio platforms. And we have our YouTube videos that go up every Wednesday, and on the Quit the Build channel, because we're partners with those guys over there. So you can check out we have our own little playlist over there. So for all our new stuff.
Nice.
So thanks, guys.
Speaking of the requests thing, which it's sad because when you guys get requests, I'm like, oh, I want to see what the surprise me button is going to screw them over with this time, because it always seems to do that. It's like, all right, well, here's Yakuza 4. And you're like, what? 4? Great.
Perfect starting point.
When this happened, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, I mentioned this on the podcast, but this is the first time I've said it to your face, where I recommended you guys Infernax, but I didn't know that I was recommending you guys Infernax for the show. I saw that game and I was like, hey, that game, that reminds me of whenever I was talking to Tom and he was talking about old school game design. And I was like, okay, well, I'll float this to Chris and see if they like this. And then you guys made an entire episode about it. And then afterwards, you're like, hey, that Infernax game, that episode's coming out soon. And I was like, what? And I never played the game. And you're like, what? You recommended a game you never played? Like, I'm sorry. I didn't know that was what was happening. Just thought it looked old school.
It's fine. It's fine.
But I did watch both of you play that game on Twitch. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. That was kind of painful, but kind of cool, but kind of painful game. But
yeah, I could tell Tom doesn't talk on when he's Twitch streaming, but I could tell he was like starting to get frustrated because I would see him die, and then there would just be like a pause, like nothing would happen for a little bit, and I could just tell because I could feel it of him going, "Oh my god, like I can't believe this happened to me again." But yeah, which that's a cool perk. I think he already talked about his Twitch. About their Twitch, but they play the games that they're doing their next episode on the Twitch stream, so you get to experience, at least for on Chris's side, you get to experience his gut reactions immediately. Yeah. You'll see Tom play. You won't hear him talk, or he won't talk on the chat or anything, but it's still very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yes, we do have a Twitch channel. Thank you for reminding me. And that is twitch.tv/1h1d. I always keep forgetting about that because it's like, we it's very casual. We only play for an hour, and after that, don't really play. Although I've been starting to play some of the games that I've talked about continuing to play, and try to beat them on the streams every once in a while. So got a couple that I definitely want to play on stream. So I'll let you know soon.
And occasionally he gets bullied into playing Resident Evil or something. Like, you guys were ballsy. Yeah, you did. You were ballsy because you were like, I don't know if it was YouTube subscribers or something, but you're like, if we get to this milestone, and I was like, oh, I got a lot of people I can just be like, hey, can you fucking do this for me? And so I got a whole bunch of people, whatever it was, your Twitch follows or the YouTube.
Yeah, it was YouTube. I appreciate that. I was like,
oh, we're gonna get Resident Evil. You should have did that one. If it was anything else, I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can call it here then. Thanks for joining us this week, co-op partners. Maybe next time we can have a little turtle time.
Or eat some Gabagool.
Gabagool.
That's stupid. Maybe end it.